In the past two random generator lectures, we displayed information created from what we inputted in our code. In this next one, we're going to be creating a random PList generator. Now what a PList is a property list, and we've talked about these previously at the start of our course. And what we're going to do is fill a property list with information. Then our random generator is going to randomly select some of the information out of our PList and display it within our application. So what we need to do this is, just like we've done previously before, we need to add in a label and a button. So if I drag this over and I'll rename this, give me random info, and drag and drop our label in, space it out and then center it. And then we're going to bring up our assistant editor to making sure it's selected on our viewcontroller.h, to then add in an outlet for our label and the action for our button. Drag that in, select the action, and I'll simply name this random PList. There we go. Create that connection. Okay, so we got that set up. We then need to create a PList. So go to our project at the top, our file there. You can either go to New File or go right click and go to New File. We need to make sure that we're selected on our iOS and we're selected on Resource, and then go to our property list and then click Next. And I'm simply going to name this List or Lists. Create that and it adds it into our project, so it's named Lists. Well, then we've got our root here, as it's completely blank, as it has nothing within our property list. We're going to click our plus symbol to add information into it. And by doing that, we're going to create a list. I'm going to make sure it's selected from a string all the way to an array. Now by doing that, bring it back there, we press our little, drop it down and press our little plus symbol on our list. It creates an item. So if I name this item 1, and then go press enter, and then press 2, 3, 4, and 5, we've now created 5 items within our list, and then 5 items are arrays, and each of these arrays equal a word, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we've inputted information, and our random generator will select one of these items from our property list and display it within our application. So how we would do that is if we jump into our viewcontroller.m, and we need to set it up to be able to read this property list. So we start by creating an ns string, and this string is going to then be called our files contents, and it's going to equal or try and find our ns bundle space main bundle, our path for resource, and it's going to then equal our @ 2 quotation marks and the name of our property list, which is lists. Of type, do @ again, 2 quotation marks, and the type of it is a PList, and that of a bracket and a semicolon. So we've got our property list now. We can now read it. We need to then select the information from it that we want to read. So we do ns dictionary space asterisk, and we call this word DIC for short for word dictionary there, space equals space bracket bracket ns dictionary again, space alloc, as we need to allocate it. Then we do bracket space init with contents of file. There we go. And in this highlighted section here, we need to do the name of our string, which was file contents, and have a bracket and a semicolon. We're then going to create an ns multiple array. So we place that in there. And then that's going to then be called items, as it's going to equal a certain array within our plist, which we name to be list. So then we get that to space equals bracket there, word dictionary, which is shortened down to word DIC, space value for key, and it's highlighted section here. We need to do the name of our array, which within our lists.plist here, we called it list. So a little bit confusing. We called our plist lists with an s.plist, and then the array within our plist as list. So make sure you don't get them too confused. So we type out list here, and making sure it's case sensitive. And we go into our new line, Then we create our int, as we need now to create our random generator. So we simply name this random gem. And just like how we created before, we place that equal that to our arc for random to then create kind of give us a random output. Instead of a number, we need to give it a random output of our bracket items count. So what it's going to do is count how many items are within our list, which happen to be 5, and then pick one of them randomly, and whatever it picks, it's then going to create an ns string to call that word, nice and easy, to equal our items object at index for our random generator. So it's a little bit confusing, but we'll work through it in just a second. And then once we've got all that set up, we then need to display that within our label. So we do self or bracket self dot label space set text. We're going to do a different way to what we normally do, and then we're going to do 2 brackets here, our ns string, which we're going to allocate it, and it there with our init with format. There we go. And the format is going to be @ symbol 2 quotation marks with a comma there to equal it to our word. And to get that word to display within our string, we do the @ symbol, percentage sign, and the @ symbol, as that gets that kind of ns string displayed within our string as it's linked up to everything else. And we end that with a semicolon. So basically what's happening then is we locating our lists.plist. So we've located it by here. Once we've located it, we've created an ns multiple array to then get our value of our list, which is selected as an array and called list, to then randomly generate a item within that list. So it kind of randomly generates a number with the items count. So it counts it as 5, and it's randomly going to pick a number. Once it's picked that number, it's then going to display it within our string here. And once it's in our string within our word, we then need to set that word to display that outcome within our labels text. So if we go to build and run and test it out, you can see once it loads up, press our button to give me random info, and our plist is set to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, depending on how many added in. So when we press it, it then randomly displays that info. Now it's going to repeat often because we don't have that many outcomes, so the outcomes will repeat. If we add more in, there's less chance for them to repeat. But this is just a random generator. It's just selecting them at complete random. So as you can see there, 2, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5. They are all the information that we placed in within our lists.plist here. Now we can go on to add more and add different types of text in. And this is simply how you create a random plist generator to display random information from our plists. In the next lecture, we're going to be creating our 4th application, where it's a simple joke generator, where we're going to be using our info.plist kind of here, or our where we're going to be using our plists here, just like how we've done in this lecture, to create a simple joke generator application, which will be a lot of fun and a great basis of a simple joke app.